I've just pulled that off and a whole heap of grit and shavings came out of it. 10 mil. My eyeballing was correct in the first place. Now, this makes me nervous because on every engine so far, when I've gone to open these, I have in fact pulled off one of the rods. So, it's interesting, you get a feel for the tension of these bolts, and after a while you can generally tell when one's way too loose. And the biggest variance is always straight out of the box. This one here was barely tightened, whereas this one here was massively over tightened. And I reckon it's just some idiot with a rattle gun just having a guess. There's no precision whatsoever in how these motors are assembled. So always with the cross pattern or the star pattern. It is never more important than when you are undoing the head, because uneven pressure can crush your gasket, and the crushed gasket means a compression leak, and a compression leak means lack of power, and I have been down that road a few times already. Alright, so we're carefully just going to wiggle this off, being careful not to lose our little nuts on the top there. What was I just saying? Now, I do just want to show you how amazingly adorable this little piston is. This is, as I said before, the 50cc variety. That thing is tiny. Now, by the look of that too, I'm going to assume that means that's the exhaust side. But we're going to take the jug off and have a proper look. So never force it. The gasket at the bottom here is particularly brittle. I do have spares, but if you're not careful, even just putting it on over these rods, you are going to have a hard time with it. I've got to show you something I've just spotted. I don't even know if you'll be able to see on here, but that one that's closest to you now, let me put that down, it is actually sticking up higher than the rest, which that's not good. That means I've probably unwound it a little bit as I was taking it off. Okay. Gentle, gentle, gentle. Okay, watch those rings. I would consider this to be a critical part of removing the jug. You do not want to damage the rings, so take your time, be aware of your gaskets, and just gently wiggle it backwards and forwards. I'm not even going to apologise about the camera angle here because I'm more concerned about doing this gently and carefully. Now, I've just pulled that off and a whole heap of grit and shavings came out of it. That's disgusting. That is positively disgusting and really, really bad quality. So I'm thinking I might be having to send this video to my supplier after all, because they will want to know. If they don't know about things like this, then they can't really do much about it. What I'm trying to show you in here, and it's just not working out for me, is... Did you hear that? Oh man, I hope that came out on camera. That's metal filings that have poured out of the jug. What the hell? That's terrible. I'm trying to show you. I don't even know if it's going to show up in the camera, but my table is now just covered in shavings, and I wasn't expecting to see that until after I'd taken the Dremel out. Oh man. Earlier in the video when I was turning the motor over while I was greasing the gears in there, I was saying you've got to be careful about it because you don't know what the inside condition of the motor is. And I am really, really glad that I pulled this thing off and had a look. I'm positively disgusted at how much metal came pouring out of that. If you're thinking about building one of these motors for the first time, don't be afraid to pull it all apart like I have. It's super simple to put back together. There's not much that can go wrong that hasn't already. All right. I'm not going to touch that gasket there. It's stuck to the outside because of the the overspray and the spray paint, and that's not a bad thing. It's come up in one piece. After the motor's been running for a while, and especially if the tension on the head bolts aren't quite tight enough, you will get compression leaks, and what that'll do is it'll just soak up the excess oily petrol, and it'll eventually just wear out. And when you have to remove the jug, when these are all wet and damp, it's not going to come off in one piece. Not this cardboard stuff. Now, I'm just trying to wipe down the area here and hopefully catch any of these shavings that might have gone down into the engine. Now, I was pretty lucky. It seems to have fallen on the outside of it. But the fact that all of these shavings were already bouncing around inside there, does beg the question. Alright, so I was looking at the head there. It doesn't look damaged, but I think if I had just fueled up this motor and gone, it would have lasted a day and then just combusted itself. This is why it's important to do what I'm doing now, even if it scares the crap out of you. If you've never pulled an engine apart before, these are an excellent base to learn.